When did the "I crave attention" kid go too far? My classmate Tyler started fake limping to school, claiming he'd torn his ACL playing basketball. For 3 weeks, he milked sympathy from teachers and students, getting special accommodations and attention. The problem? Our school had security cameras everywhere, and the principal pulled footage showing Tyler literally running to catch the bus every morning, jumping over puddles and sprinting upstairs when he thought no one was looking. When confronted in front of the entire class with the video evidence, Tyler claimed he'd experienced a miracle healing that morning. He was suspended for academic dishonesty and had to explain to his parents why he'd been faking a serious injury for attention. Tyler Chen was that kid who always had to be the center of attention. By our junior year, his attention-seeking had become legendary, but usually harmless. Everything changed after winter break when Tyler showed up with a dramatic limp, claiming he'd torn his ACL during a basketball game. He had a whole story prepared, diving for a loose ball, hearing the pop, emergency room visit. "Doctor says I'll need surgery soon," he announced, wincing theatrically as he limped down the hallway. Tyler wasn't even on the basketball team, but that didn't stop him from getting sympathy. Mrs. Rodriguez moved his desk to the front. The cafeteria ladies held his lunch tray. The school nurse gave him daily ice packs. For 3 weeks, Tyler played up his fake injury perfectly. He'd grimace when sitting, ask classmates to carry his books, and dramatically prop his leg up during class. Teachers gave him assignment extensions and excused him from PE. The attention was everything Tyler had wanted. Students who'd never spoken to him were asking about his injury and offering help. Girls volunteered to carry his backpack. Tyler got careless with his lie. During lunch, when he thought no one was watching, he'd walk normally. Between classes, if running late, he'd forget to limp. But his biggest mistake was his morning routine. Every day, Tyler would get off the bus and immediately start limping before entering the building. What he didn't realize was that our school had installed new security cameras over winter break. The truth came out during AP history. We were taking a quiz when Principal Martinez walked in carrying a laptop. "Tyler," Principal Martinez said calmly, "could you come with me for a moment?" Tyler went into victim mode. "Is this about my injury? The doctor said I need to keep it elevated." "Actually, yes, it is about your injury," the principal interrupted. Principal Martinez opened his laptop and turned it toward the class. On screen was security footage from that morning, showing Tyler getting off the bus and immediately breaking into a full sprint to catch his friends. The timestamp showed 7:42 a.m., less than 2 hours ago. The classroom went silent. Tyler's face went white as he watched himself jumping over a puddle, taking stairs 2 at a time, and walking normally until he reached the entrance, where he suddenly started limping. "This is just from today," Principal Martinez said, clicking to another video. "We have 3 weeks of footage showing you running, jumping, and walking normally every morning." Video after video showed Tyler sprinting to catch the bus, playing football with friends during lunch, and doing jumping jacks during a fire drill. Tyler sat staring at the screen, his injured leg still propped up. The whole class was watching. "Tyler," Principal Martinez said, "do you have any explanation for this?" Tyler looked around desperately. Then, in the most ridiculous move possible, he suddenly jumped up and started walking normally. "Oh my God," he announced dramatically. "It's a miracle. My ACL just healed itself. The power of positive thinking really works." The entire class burst out laughing, not with Tyler, but at him. Tyler's fake miracle healing was even more embarrassing than getting caught. "Tyler," Principal Martinez said dryly, "I don't think that's how ACL injuries work." "You'd be surprised," Tyler replied. "Modern medicine is amazing. I've been doing visualization exercises and—" "Tyler, stop," the principal cut him off. "You're suspended for academic dishonesty. Gather your things." As Tyler packed up, the room was silent except for occasional suppressed giggles. The worst part came when Tyler's parents were called to school. They'd been worried sick, had scheduled consultations with orthopedic surgeons, and were prepared to pay thousands for surgery. When they learned he'd been faking everything for attention, they were furious and humiliated. Tyler returned from suspension a week later, but the damage was done.
What turned you into a villain for the rest of the world? I never thought I'd become the person everyone warned their kids about. 6 months ago, I was just a normal guy working at a construction company, dating my girlfriend of 3 years, and planning to propose. We'd been saving for a house, and I'd finally put down a deposit on a ring that cost me 4 months' salary. The night I planned to propose, I came home early to set up a romantic dinner. As I quietly entered our apartment, I heard strange noises coming from our bedroom. My heart dropped when I opened the door and found my girlfriend in bed with my best friend since high school, the same friend who had helped me pick out her ring just last week. They both scrambled to cover themselves, shouting excuses and apologies. I just stood there, the little velvet box burning a hole in my pocket. When I finally found my voice, I simply asked, "How long?" My girlfriend looked away, but my friend mumbled, 8 months, almost a third of our relationship. I walked out without another word. I spent the night driving around, eventually checking into a cheap motel. The next morning, I had 37 missed calls and dozens of texts, not just from them, but from mutual friends. Somehow, they had spun a story that I had been emotionally abusive, that I had driven her into his arms. People we had known for years were suddenly taking their side, calling me toxic and controlling. When I returned to work on Monday, whispers followed me everywhere. My boss called me into his office and said there had been concerns about my behavior. Turns out, my friend worked with my boss's brother and had spread his version of events throughout our professional circle. 2 weeks later, I was let go for creating a hostile work environment. I couldn't afford the apartment alone, so I had to move back in with my parents at 32. I tried to date again, but our town was small and the rumors had spread everywhere. Women would match with me on dating apps only to unmatch after asking my name. I lost friends, my job, my home, and my reputation, all because of a lie. One night, scrolling through social media, I saw they had made their relationship official. The comments were full of support, calling them brave for following their hearts despite the difficult circumstances. That's when something inside me snapped. If everyone already thought I was the villain, why not become one? I created fake profiles and started gathering information. My ex had always been insecure about certain photos she'd sent me years ago. My former friend had a new job at a prestigious firm with a strict morality clause. I had nothing left to lose, while they had everything. I spent weeks planning, making sure nothing could be traced back to me. First, I sent anonymous emails to my friend's new employers with screenshots of racist jokes he'd made in private chats years ago. Then I created a website with my ex's name that linked to her old social media posts where she'd mocked clients at her therapy practice. I made sure everything was technically public information, just organized in the most damaging way possible. Within a month, he he was fired, and she was under review by her licensing board. Their perfect new life was crumbling, just like mine had. I watched from afar as they frantically tried to figure out who was behind it all. My ex posted tearful videos claiming she was being harassed by an unknown stalker. My friend started a GoFundMe for his unjust termination. Nobody connected it to me. Last week, I was at a coffee shop in my parents' neighborhood when I overheard a conversation at the next table. It was my ex's mother talking to a friend, saying how her daughter and my former best friend had broken up amid all the stress. Apparently, he'd accused her of leaking his private messages, and she'd accused him of setting up the website. They'd destroyed each other without me having to lift another finger. As I paid for my coffee, my ex's mother recognized me. Instead of the hatred I expected, she just looked tired. "I hope you're happy now," she said quietly. I didn't respond, just walked out with my head held high. For the first time in months, I actually was happy. They had taken everything from me based on lies, and now the truth had taken everything from them. I'm moving to a new city next week with the money I saved for that ring. People back home will always see me as the villain in their story.